The cheesemakers of Catalonia have played a leading role in the revival of traditional Spanish cheese over the last 30 years. But many of their cheeses are never found outside the region, so I've travelled here to learn more about them. Bordered by the stunning Pyrenees and the beautiful beaches of the Mediterranean, this autonomous region of northeastern Spain stretches across 4 provinces and is home to the dynamic city of Barcelona. Its famous Romanesque churches and spectacular World Heritage architecture attracts millions of tourists from all over the world, and it's also recognised as an important fashion, commercial and culinary centre. Catalan culture has been strongly influenced over the centuries by its rich and fascinating history, which dates back to the ancient Greek and Roman times. Cheese making in the region dates back at least 3,000 years, but regrettably most examples vanished during the Franco years because it was illegal to produce cheese on the farm. And it's only in recent times that artisan cheese has enjoyed a renaissance.
During the 80s, I worked above all in the production of the cheese, recuperating the traditional cheese, and the more important is give the canal for the legalization of the small dairies products. And during the 90s, I started with the commercialization, and in 20 years, all this traditional cheese passed from the illegal to the legality, and start to be present at the shops and the supermarkets. And it was a big revolution in our country.
Thanks to the work of passionate people like Enric Canut, the number of Catalan cheeses found on the market today has grown significantly. And an increasing international awareness of this region's unique fusion of modern and classical cuisine has encouraged more and more chefs and consumers to look out for them.
All the Catalan countries that speak Catalan language, and we have the same style. And in fact, Mato, Cazoleta, tronchon, fresh tronchon, all this goat cheese are fresh cheese made at the country to sell at the cities, because all the Mediterranean coast have very big cities with big markets, and the people demand all kind of fresh cheese. And this is one of the speciality, the fresh cheese with salt or unsalted, sale in local markets for the local people.
The origins of the Catalan cheese-making recovery began in the 1980s, when a new generation of young alternative lifestylers symbolically chose a new life in rural villages away from the big cities to begin raising dairy animals for milk and cheese production. Today, this remarkable neo-rural movement, as it's known, has produced more than 300 varieties of local cheese. Under Franco, any traditional cheese made from raw milk was illegal unless it had been matured for at least 60 days. But thankfully, this regulation has been relaxed, and today almost 30% of all Catalan cheese is made from raw milk. The first cheese on my list is one of the oldest in Spain and one of the most important in this region. Mato is a fresh curd cheese that dates back to medieval times, when it was made from a mixture of goat and ewe's milk. In fact, until the start of the 20th century, almost no cows were milked in Catalonia, and cheese was strictly seasonal. Animal rennet was hard to come by, and curds were set with vegetable rennet made from thistle flowers. Now this is a real find. It's a cardoon thistle, which was once used for cheese making. It's a bit early in the season at the moment, but over the next couple of months, this will flower, and the pistils in the centre of it were once dropped into the milk, and they would split it into curds and whey. Fresh cheese like Mato had to be made every day because there was no refrigeration. But all that has changed, and today Mato has a shelf life of several weeks, and most examples are made almost entirely from cow's milk. I'm heading northwest to Barcelona to look at a very famous version of Mato cheese. It takes its name from a mountain range called Montserrat, and the story goes that it became famous because the monastery there gave its grounds for a marketplace. The old Benedictine Abbey of Santa Maria de Montserrat was built on a spectacular rock formation, and the original market beneath its impressive walls is still in operation. But rather than catering for the pilgrims, the focus is now on the thousands of tourists who come to visit the abbey from Barcelona. Many of the stalls still sell local Mato cheese, and the dairy that I've planned to visit is a short drive down the twisting mountain roads. The Fleury family have been making Mato cheese for generations. And before the road to the monastery was built, it took almost 4 hours to reach the abbey market by donkey. The dairy now makes Mato with fresh cow's milk collected from farms in the surrounding region. As the milk is heated, animal rennet is added, and after a short time, the milk begins to form into delicate curds. The curds are then broken and stirred. They are then placed into large bowls lined with cheesecloth and carefully massaged and pressed by hand to drain off some of the remaining whey.
But the process is push here very, very soft.
Very soft,
not
yeah.
strong.
Yeah.
But you push strong, the mato passed in the here.
It will pass through the cloth, yeah.
Yeah, the cloth. And later, no, the water not come inside, outside.
Yeah, okay, so it's just
Okay.
very, very gentle. Once this stage is complete, the curd is scooped into smaller cloth-lined hoops of various sizes. The moist young cheese is then tied into a neat parcel so that it can continue to drain under its own weight. The family also produce a range of other farm products for the market, including yogurt, cottage cheese, honey and quince. But it's the simple cheesecake made with Mato cheese that has proved most popular with their market customers. This is made from fresh milk, sugar, Mato cheese and fresh farm eggs. The mixture is combined and poured into pie tins and baked in a hot oven until it forms a lightly golden crust. The moist, young Mato is also sent to restaurants and cheese shops all over Catalonia. On the farm, the Mato is traditionally served with honey, and it's also popular in salads made with the very strange-looking local Montserrat tomato. The basic principles used to make Mato have been adapted by many of Catalonia's new artisan cheesemakers. And one of the most successful examples is a goat's milk cheese made near the village of Sant Antoni Vilamajor, which according to Enric Canut is sometimes called flowery skin cheese. The introduction of these Mothiana Granadina goats from the south of Spain to Catalonia about 30 years ago laid the foundation for the production of Garrotxa. It's since become the most exported of all the artisan cheeses from this region. The young cheeses are ripened in crates in a humid cellar, where the rind spontaneously develops a thick, hairy mould. And another interesting thing about this cheese is when it was first revived, nobody understood that it should be covered in a mould. In fact, they tried to wash the mould off, and it's only when they asked one of the grandmothers about how it used to look that they realised that the mould was a fundamental part of the cheese. As you would expect, Garrotxa has become a favourite amongst the local chefs. And before leaving, my hosts insisted on taking me for a delicious cheesy meal at the nearby Three Oaks restaurant. Here the chef, Joan Vals, had prepared 4 delectable tapas-style recipes. First up, sweet quince and Garrotxa parcels made using a simple dough which is deep-fried until fluffy and golden brown. The second tapas was made using oiled bread with quince and melted cheese. Next up, a tray of fresh local snails, covered in a cream cheese sauce made with Garrotxa, served with aioli and a romesco sauce. And the final tapas, salted cod, slowly cooked and served with thick Garrotxa cream cheese sauce.
Very nice, yeah. Really
Okay, thank you.
I never thought about cheese and snails before. That's a first.
This is a good.
Really a first. And cheese, wine, great together.
It's perfect.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm starting to fall in love with Catalonia. I'll have to come back.
Thank you. Gracias.
The next classic Catalan cheese I want to learn about is made in the hills of the Plateau Moianès, just an hour's drive outside Barcelona.
One of the oldest cheeses still made in Catalonia is called Tupi, and it comes from these hills. Originally, it was made from scraps of old cheese made from goat and ewe's milk by shepherds and preserved in earthenware jars under alcohol.
The Montbrou dairy makes quite a variety of very interesting modern cheese types from cow, ewes and even buffalo milk, and also manages a small herd of goats that roam on the hills near the dairy. Tupi takes its name from the Catalan word for a clay vessel, but most examples found in the shops today are sold in glass jars.
And what we do is just grate it like this. Now we're gonna mash it with our hands, and we're gonna add some olive oil, just a little bit.
So really crunch it up, yeah?
Yeah.
So this is the way they would have made it up in the mountains thousands of years ago.
Yeah. This is a sweet wine. It's called Mistela. It's like the Moscato in Italy, or Muscatel we call it here.
Yeah. So how long will it keep for like that?
It can keep for years.
Really?
Yeah. Because the cheese is really old, and with the alcohol have a big fermentation. Then we're gonna put it into the.
Yeah. And I guess this pot, you could just keep filling it up as you go along.
Yeah. The thing is, you have to fill it to the top always. You can.
Oh, so once you go down, it goes mouldy.
Yeah, because there's more oxygen in there, and.
Yeah. And I think the terracotta pot also would have helped insulate it.
Yeah. The same fat of the cheese keeps all like a line outside the pot.
That's really quite good.
Yeah, and you can feel the texture of the old cheeses in here, and the creamy of the oil.
I like it fresh. Really nice. I don't know how I'd like it in about 2 or 3 years, but it's pretty good.
Now we're gonna cover it with a cloth.
Like that.
Yeah, and we cover it with that. And now, normally, the shepherds, they use it to keep it in where the temperature is near the same during the year.
Constant temperature, yeah?
Like 15 degrees. That's why they can keep this kind of cheese for long.
Ah, okay. Well, there you have it.
Yeah.
Tupi cheese, made the old-fashioned way. Menorca is known as the island of cheese because it's home to one of Spain's great benchmark cheeses made from cow's milk. Its name is Mahon, and believe it or not, it was created by the British some 300 years ago.
Menorca is the most northern and eastern of the Balearic Islands and was once ruled by the Crown of Aragon, which also ruled Catalonia. Its important strategic position over the sea routes of the Mediterranean was the primary reason why the British established a naval garrison in the deep sheltered harbour of Port Mahon during the 18th century. And it was an English engineer named Armstrong who counted more than 6,000 cattle on the island in 1742, and noted in his diary, "Cow's milk, although scarce, is good for the production of cheese, which is exported to Italy, where it is more popular than Parmesan." The industrious British imported new breeds of livestock to improve the milk yield of the indigenous Menorquin breed, and as production of cheese increased, the reputation of Mahon spread to other parts of Europe. Today, Mahon is officially called Mahon Menorca under the PDO system and is made by 34 dairies of varying size on the island. Many examples are made on a large industrial scale, but the finest traditional examples are still made from raw milk and handmade the old-fashioned way using a square cotton cloth called a fogacé. The young cheeses are hung in the cloth to drain for several hours. They are then pressed for up to 12 hours until the cheese takes on the characteristic square shape with rounded corners. Every cheese bearing the PDO name must also have a special identification number pressed into the rind showing when and where it was made.
And this is where the magic happens. Young salted cheeses are collected from the farms and brought here, where they're put onto wooden shelves and matured for between 3 and 6 months.
During ripening, the Mahon is regularly rubbed with olive oil and pimenton, a type of paprika. This gives it a distinctly reddish colour and helps to ensure the surface rind does not form a mould or crack and dry out. The texture and flavour of Mahon changes quite dramatically the longer it's matured, and on the island it's sold at 3 different ages. In order to taste some of the best, I've come to visit Subido Farm, where cheesemaking dates back several generations.
I've come to try some cheese.
Oh, well, well placed.
Let's start with the really young one first, shall we? So how old is this one?
It's 2 months.
2 months
Only
old.
2 months. Yeah, it's the most popular cheese, yeah. It's because it's younger. And
More popular, yeah.
it's not fat and it's easy to eat.
Ooh, that's got a really grassy flavour to it. It's quite soft, quite salty.
Yeah.
It's actually quite strong for only a 2-month-old cheese.
For us, it's not strong.
And you know, I've just tried it and it's made all the juices in my mouth go very sort of loose and nice. Going, wow, give me more, give me more. So what's this one here?
Yeah, he's a 5-6 months old.
5 or 6 months. So this would be Curado.
Yeah.
Yeah?
You see the color is again.
Much darker.
Yeah. Right. It's the same cheese, but it's drier than the other one.
That would be great for cooking.
Yeah.
How old's this one? Look at it.
3 years.
It's almost caramel coloured. Yeah? Is this very rare?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really, really strong.
It's sweet, a little bit mouldy. Really, really interesting. So, which of these 3 do you like?
I prefer the old one.
The really old one?
Yeah.
Okay, and what's its name again?
Pedro Montañez. It's like...
Exactly the same
it's
as
my
your
name, but it's his name.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. It's really good. Really good. Thank you.
Pedro's grandfather was a driving force in developing Menorcan cheese. And his new ideas improved production methods and expanded the market for Mahon across Spain. The Subido dairy is now home to more than 170 Frisian cows, making it one of the largest dairy herds on the island.
Is Mahon made with cows that graze on grass?
Yeah, most people make this. Yeah, but they only make cheese during 5 or 6 months here.
Okay, so traditionally it was very seasonal cheese.
Yeah.
And which months was that?
It's the best months are the months you put the cows in fields. You know, during January to April.
Okay. By feeding them in sheds and getting a consistent milk supply and a consistent quality, you can produce cheese all year.
Yeah.
And by using the Holstein Frisian breed, it means you get more milk.
Yeah.
Is anyone actually milking the old cows anymore?
Yeah, a few small producers make cheese during 2-3 months a year.
And that's it?
Yeah.
With more and more industrial Mahon Menorca on the market these days, it's nice to learn that the traditional raw milk cheese is also becoming increasingly popular. And it's no surprise that it's considered essential for cooking on the island. Menorcan chefs are part of an extraordinary culinary movement that mixes science with a long history of classical cooking in Spain. And before leaving, I was invited to sample some unusual recipes using Mahon at the Aroma Sensations restaurant in beautiful Port Mahon.
We have here like a melted fresh cheese from Coinga, and we will make the spherifications.
Okay, yeah.
And it's we have like a little bubbles, and when you eat it, it's like
Bang.
explosion of.
So that's real
of the
modern
chip.
Spanish cuisine. And you, what are you doing over here?
And we will make a all cheese souffle with some cheese cream and some merengue.
Okay, how did you make the cheese cream?
This is a little bit as milk cream and boil a little bit. And with the Thermomix, we mix all the cheese
The Thermomix.
for this.
Yeah. Okay, go for
now
it.
we mix a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're just beating those egg whites up there.
So try to is very strong. Don't fall down.
After beating, the cheese souffle mix is removed from the bowl and carefully spooned into tiny greaseproof paper trays, ready to be cooked for 5 minutes in a medium oven. Carlos then builds the main dish using fresh strawberries, the serified cheese balls, and a variety of local herbs and flowers. To this, he adds a Mahon crisp, and then the tiny cooked cheese souffle is plated and topped with rose-flavoured foam. The final dish is a wonderful mix of shapes, colours and textures. True Spanish creativity at its best.
Thank you, Chef. Thank you, Chef. I hope you don't mind. I'm just going to go down and try it.
I've never been to Menorca before, and it was hard to leave the beautiful tranquil harbour of Mahon on such a lovely evening. But it was time to head back to the mainland. The Catalan writer Josep Pla once described gastronomy as the countryside in a saucepan. And after visiting just a few of the artisan cheesemakers of Catalonia and Menorca and seeing how and where they make cheese, I now understand what he was getting at. Their enthusiasm and single-minded attitude is inspiring, and I can't help hoping that perhaps we've helped them spread the word about their cheese by telling their story.
Nearly.
No. Here, have some. That's very, very oof. Very oof. No wonder it's called oof.
Ash.
Ash?
No.
I know he's an old hippie, but I'd love to try an old one.
Yeah, I have one on there.
I thought you might. Let's go and have a look.